Alrighty, everybody, what's going on? Just Mike here, no Joe. He is on vacation currently, and he doesn't even know I'm making this video. So yeah, let's get on with it. Today we're going to be discussing an album that is highly controversial. Well, if you share an opinion that I share on it, it is controversial at least. And I just got this random spur of the moment thought to do a tier list of the songs on the album. And I also want to explain why I think this album is actually very good. Encore by Eminem. It is technically his fourth album, third studio album. Right? No, four, no, fifth. It's technically his fifth album. Anyways, whatever. Eminem, just to give a little bit of context, at this point in November of 2004, was as big as you can be. I mean, he was coming off of, let's see, the hype of the Slim Shady LP with the Hi My Name Is single, the Marshall Mathers LP, and the Eminem Show, which are two of the fastest selling hip hop albums of all time. Um, Number one movie, number one smash hit with Lose Yourself. Two very popular D12 albums. Signed a guy by the name of 50 Cent. Um, you really couldn't escape Eminem at this time. And just a little bit of context before we get into this. I think if you're an M fan, it's pretty well documented by now that Eminem is not the biggest fan of Encore, and I understand why. Because if you see in an interview he did in, I believe it was September of 2022, a little over a year ago, he talks about how um Encore, the track list was supposed to be something completely different than what it was. A lot of songs that leaked out, such as like Bully, maybe Monkey See, Monkey Do. What else? What else? Obviously, the ones that were on the bonus tracks that we are going to be ranking because why not? They count, like Love You More and I know Ricky Tikki Talk, but then oh man, why am I blanking on this one? Oh, We As Americans, which was supposed to be the album's opener. Um, and a couple other songs mixed in there. But essentially, the middle section of Encore wasn't going to end up being there. M said that he had a lot of songs that he felt was right in the vein of what he usually normally does. But as we know, during this time, his addiction to drugs was starting to become very, very apparent in some of these songs, which is, um, as we get here to I'm just pulling up the, why am I blanking on how to, um, oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, so that's why for one of the rows I have a what is happening with a question mark. Doesn't necessarily mean I dislike the song, but it does make you think like, wow, okay. So yeah, we can get started, but I'll tell you my views real quick on Encore. I love Encore. Look, I get it. If the middle stretch to a lot of people was a little too silly, but I mean, you get some. Eminem is, there are points on this album where he's at his best, and I just I just don't see how you can put that on the bottom half of his discography if that's the case. But we're gonna get into it. No skits, obviously, but starting with "Evil Deeds," which is the ended up being the intro track. This song to me kind of gives you a glimpse of like where Eminem is currently at in 2004. Like you feel the stress and the anxiety and just like I'm so over this shit. You can feel that on the record. And I know he was supposed to open it with We As Americans, but I actually really like this as an opener better because it's a capsule of where he's at, especially looking back now. He said in interviews later on, I remember when he was doing interviews for Relapse, he was saying that when he looks back at Encore, he can tell where he was at during the time. And I think this is a perfect example of that. Um, and he's basically just saying like, he's going, a lot of self-loathing is going on here in this track, talking about, his dad not being there, his mom, wanting to just go places with his daughter Haley, but he can't. Um, the curtain not closing for him. Where's the switch I could just turn on, off and on? Like where he's just like he's not in control anymore, and pretty. I mean, it's pretty heavy. Looking, especially looking back on it now. But this is an S tier song. This is without a doubt an S tier song. Next up, we have Never Enough, which is like a classic cut. It's like it's such a short track, but it's perfect. You got M who comes right in following Evil D's with just a fire verse. Like it's really not much to it. Classic Nate Dogg hook. 50 Cent at the peak of his powers as well comes in and lays a fire song. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Dre produced know where my phone is, but I think Dre produced this beat. Let me double check. Let's see. Eminem Encore. Um, yes, he also produced Evil Deeds. But yeah, this is also to me like a classic Dre beat. Like this sounds like the beat just screams 2003, 2005, like that era of Shady Records. Or Aftermath too. And I also think this is an S tier song too. It's not as content heavy as Evil Deeds, but I mean, it's just a great rap song, you know. Especially with the dude. Probably, I would say that this is probably my favorite M and 50 song together on track. But I would probably have to put more thought into that. But yeah, we'll see. But it's not better than Evil Leaves. Next up, we have Yellow Brick Road, which obviously chock full of content. At this time, there was a back and forth with him and Benzino, and a couple tapes that got leaked out, and M is just basically kind of giving a backstory as to like why um the whatever songs that got leaked out and what he said. He apologized for it in a very M way. If you get to the end of the song, I'm not gonna repeat it, but anyways, it's like he's giving you a whole description about like him growing up and getting into rap, meeting Proof, some things with Kim, but discussing Kim in a way that we've never really heard before, how when they were kids, and how he was trying to get back at her with getting with another girl. And I just feel like this is an M song that like it stands out from the rest, especially for this time. The only thing is I feel like, and this I think people have this issue with Encore, with a lot of Encore too, is like it kind of, what's the right word I'm looking for? It kind of goes on a little further than it has to, a little longer than it has to. Like this, the verses and even the chorus probably could have been cut down a little bit, or even like a feature on the hook or something. But I that's the only thing that keeps it from being an S tier song for me. I have it at an A. But yeah, shout out to Yellow Brick Road. Next up, we got the classic Like Toy Soldiers. I just found out recently that a lot of people don't like the song because of the beat, because of that like the marching drum kick or whatever. And I guess I can see it, but at this point, I just feel like that's nitpicking. Come on, this is an S tier song. This is a classic Eminem song, one of his best songs. Obviously, talking about the beat, all the beefs that were going on at that time with Benzino, Ja Rule, getting him and 50 inheriting each other's beefs, and just basically sending a message like, hey, like at the end of the day, we're not going to be the ones that are going to get hurt from this. It's going to be the people, below us who have nothing to lose, and we're making them put their lives on the line over what really at the end of the day. I think it's a great message. I think it's a message that is still very relevant in hip hop today. I think everybody likes a good rap beef, a good back and forth, but at a certain point, when it starts getting to, where it's just violence, it's like, man, what are we really doing this for? So with this being said, it's an S tier song, and I'm not gonna put it over Evil Deeds. I know a lot of people would, but I'm not gonna. But yeah. All right, next up we have Mosh, which obviously M is at at like this point in time in 2004, he had some content on politics, especially in the Eminem show, like White America, even in Square Dance. Some more tracks, but this one was really like he was obviously going at George Bush. They released this song right before the 2004 presidential election. And they kind of used it as promo marketing for the album as well. They had a whole shady campaign, the national convention they did, Shady National Convention, Shady for President. Um, and I thought this was a cool moment. Whether you agree or disagree, I think that's the thing that gets kind of lost in the wind. Even if you disagree with the message, you can still like the song and think it's a good song. I think M's heart was in the right place too. And for this time, he sounded like I guess my thing is anything that motivated the guy at this time, like, hey, great, because he was starting to enter a weird mode, so yeah, this song I like a lot. It's a good song. I probably put it at the B range, but I think there's depth like that third verse is S tier for sure. Um, but yeah, good song. All right, next up we have Puke, and we are now entering that middle section that people talk about that they just can't seem to really, um they just can't get past for whatever reason. And I get it. I get it. Um, this song for me, I actually think it's M's performance on it, I think is great. The content looking back now, it's to me, it's kind of just um kind of like like you didn't have to go there, especially what was going on with Kim at the time. But hey, I'm not here to be the moral police. Speaking from a song content, it's a good song. The only thing that ruins it from really being like an A or even S tier for me is like you got the first 30 seconds are him literally vomiting. And yeah, I get it. The song's called Puke, and that's the jux of it, but it's like I don't know, man. You could have made another skit. You got like a million skits on this album. You could have made a skit where you're just puking. I mean, it wouldn't have been for what he was doing at the time. That wouldn't have been seen as that crazy. It actually drives me crazy that I have to, if I want to listen to this song, I have to listen to vomiting for 30 seconds. But the song's still good enough to be a B. With that being said, honestly, I mean, it's just my opinion. Again, not advocating for the content, but it is what it is. Okay, next up, my first single. We are now in the phase of what is happening. What is going on with this guy who is known for. Let me just preface it with this too. For anybody who doesn't know, Eminem was 3 for 3 at this. The Slim Shady LP, classic. Marshall Mathers LP, classic. The Eminem Show, classic. He had not missed. So and again, I was only 4 at the time, so I wasn't listening. But I can only imagine at that time people listening were what is this guy okay? We now know obviously he wasn't okay. Like he was battling a pretty serious drug addiction. But yeah, this is just one of those songs where it's just like you're listening and like the beat just sounds like drugs. Like it just screams like I'm on drugs. Like I don't know, but not in like the good way where like the songs are good. It's in just a bad way. But I do find myself listening to this from time to time because it's so like it's funny because it's and I guess like the one thing to take out of it is the flow is pretty cool. Lyrically, it's disgusting. Not only content wise, it's just like it's just yeah. I don't have to go much into it, but anyways. Okay, next we have Rain Man, and I'm torn between putting this in a D and then what is happening. I'm gonna put it in a what is happening because okay, there is actually no. I'm gonna put it in a D. because while this song goes absolutely off the rails, there's at least a a concept somewhat, where he's basically saying he's Rain Man, like I forgot my name, like um the first verse I think is fire, where it's like you find me offensive, I find you offensive for finding me offensive. Like that first verse I actually enjoy. The chorus is cool. Then the second and third verse just goes off the rails, in my opinion, but it's pretty funny. Again, it's I mean it's essentially kind of a what is happening as well, but yeah, hey, I don't know. Next up we have Big Weenie, which is it's just gonna go into the what is happening. I can I've tried with this song, man, because there's a lot of M songs that aren't like great that I still do find some enjoyment in. This one I just can't, bro. I just can't do it. Like I get it, yeah, technically there's a concept to it, but just because there's a concept to it doesn't mean it's a good concept. It's like a funny diss song to Benzino at the time, and it's just like it's alarming, man. Oh God, I don't even know. I'm just gonna move on. Anyways, we're almost out of the middle section. Next up is Just Lose It, which was the lead single for Encore, following the same formula as the Hi My Name Is, the Real Slim Shady, and Without Me. That was kind of his attempt at that. To me, didn't quite hit the marker. There's some enjoyable things about this song. I can't stand the chorus though. Um, I can't stand the bridges. Um, the third verse is actually a really good verse to me. But I don't know. I think this one's gonna probably go to the D range as well. I think I'll put it over. I'll put it over Rain Man. I'm just Rain Man. When I was like 14 or like 13, when I was in middle school, I actually really liked Rain Man. But these days, nah, I can't listen to much of it. But yeah, Just Lose It. I don't have much to say. I'm gonna put it there. Next up we have Ass Like That, which another silly M song actually became kind of like a big commercial success and had a resurgence with TikTok. Um, but oh, so did Big Weenie too, which anyway, I don't know. I don't know why. But anyways, Ass Like That is actually I think it's a pretty interesting concept in a sense of like at the end of every verse, like he's saying the most outlandish shit, like especially like about girls and stuff, but then he's saying like, oh, there's a pup, it's just his puppet, it's not me. Um, and it's kind of his whole, if you follow the Him and Triumph thing that had happened around that time, it's kind of a play on that as well. So with that, I'm actually gonna put that in the C range. That sounds about right for Encore having it in every single category. But anyways, next up we have Spend Some Time. It's a song with M50. Let me get this right. M50, OB, Stat, and that's it. Yeah, yeah, okay, that's it. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I got everyone on there. There's nothing really wrong with this song. I just feel like it didn't need and none of the features are bad, but I just don't think it needed to be as long as it did. I think it was very drawn out. Um, I think if anything, they should have had someone else singing the chorus. M just doesn't have it vocally, especially at this point in time. Um, but to me, it's like an average song. I mean, it's better than these four, that's for sure. I'd put it in the C range, but it's definitely not something I find myself going back and listening to. Um, we are out of that middle drag officially, and we can get back to business. And M is back, sounding like a normal human being again. With that, we have Mockingbird, which S tier. I mean, it's again one of the more classic M songs. This one has had another resurgence. I don't know if it's had to do with TikTok or not. I really don't know, but this one I'm happy about because man. What a song. Dedicated to, his daughter and, his other daughters, which, he has custody of but aren't officially his. But at this time, when he wrote this in like 2003, his ex-wife Kim was going through a lot of things. She was in rehab and all these things in jail, and M was kind of just trying to like basically just saying like I tried to shelter you from all of this, but you ironically I've tried to shelter you from everything I've seen, but you've seen just as much, if not more. And it's very, very heartfelt, I think M does a great job singing on it here. And the verses are just like gut wrenching, you know. M said that he cried while he was making this song. The music video is great too. I feel like there's not really too much more to say on it. Just a great, great Eminem song, one of his best ever for sure. Hmm. With that being said, next up we have Crazy in Love. Uh, awesome sample. Did M produce this? I'm assuming he did. Yeah, M handles most of the production for, especially at this time. And if it wasn't M, then it was usually Dre. But yeah, so I like this song. I think it's a little weird at times, but I do like, his lyrically, it's very strong. When he's like, "You are the Kim to my Marshall, the Slim to my Shady, the Dre to my Eminem, the Elena to my Haley." Like, he's in his bag here, and I'll put it at a A. I still think Yellow Brick Road's probably better. I do like that this track is concise and like kind of just gets to the point and then leaves. One of Eminem's better beats, though. I will say for sure. Next up, we have One Shot, Two Shot, which was a posse cut with D12. And at this point, he had D12 on every album except for the Slim Shady LP. So Marshall Mathers LP, Under the Influence, I love that song. The Eminem Show, When the Music Stops, love that song. And now this one, One Shot, Two Shot, to me, didn't live up to those two songs. I don't think it's a bad song. And by the way, they had also had two studio albums out at that time as well as a group. But I don't know. It's a cool concept. It kind of, I get the drift of it, and it does kind of fit in with the theme of the album. But it just doesn't really do a whole lot for me. It I don't know. I just don't. It doesn't have much replay value, and for me, replay value is huge. But I still think it's passable. Um, I would probably put it at the C. I'd put it over Spend Some Time. So now we have what is seen as the outro to Encore. And it's featuring Dr. Dre and 50 Cent. And this was kind of seen as M's possible last album at the time with everything that was going on. And it ends how it should, or how it was going to. If it was going to end like that at that time, that's how it should have ended. Classic Dre beat, 50 doing, some stuff in the background, M and Dre rapping. M really tops it all. Like he really puts it together at the end of the song, like where he's like spoke to a generation of angry teenage, like just really kind of giving you a synopsis, and then at the end, it's it turns into this skit where Eminem shoots everybody and kills everybody that is in the crowd, and he basically says, "See you in hell," basically saying like if Slim Shady's going, he's taking all of you with him, which I thought was a pretty interesting and clever thing. They actually released this as a single, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the last single off of Encore, but I think after the album they released it. But still, I think that was pretty cool that the outro was ended up being a single. Um, I'm gonna put this S tier, and yeah, I'm gonna put that there. So that's how like the album itself shapes up. Down here below, we have three bonus tracks, which were supposed to be on the album. However, they got leaked. We as Americans, as I stated earlier, M said was supposed to be the intro. It's a great song. It is, it gets you like it gets me hyped at least. I don't got much to say about it. Obviously, there's the controversial line about I don't rap for dead presidents, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to repeat what he says. You can look that up in your own time if you don't know. Um, I'm torn between A and S tier. I'm gonna go A. I might get killed for it, but I'm gonna go A. Still a great song, nevertheless. Next up, we have "Love You More," which is basically, essentially, him talking about Kim. Shocker, but I'm torn between this one too because it's a song that I don't really listen to much nowadays because like I just listen back and I'm like, really, like, did you have to go that far with certain things, you know? But if I'm not doing that, it's a great song in my opinion. Is it S tier? No, but it's good. And I'd probably put it. Yeah, I'll put it right there in the A tier. It's better than Crazy in Love to me. Ironically, that's probably what replaced it after the song got leaked. I don't know for a fact. I'm just assuming with the content. Um, and then we have Ricky Tikki Talk, which is basically just kind of like a freestyle. Um, you can tell it sounds like it's from like the '03 era where they were, doing mixtapes and things like that. Just kind of, you know, I don't know. It's a cool little song. I'll put it at the B tier, I think. Um, and that's how those bonus tracks shape up. So yeah, this is how Encore shapes up to me. I love this album. I really do. Um, I think it gets a lot of hate, and I think that M is part of the reason for that. But I also do understand that that middle part can be a drag if you're listening to it all the way through. If you're someone like me who likes a good front to back album listen, I can understand why you don't really give this album much of a chance. I understand, but I think you should start. So yeah. With that being said, um, I don't know. I know Joe has a couple things that he has to still edit. Obviously, we will be ramping up for the NFL playoffs, but as the NFL season comes to an end, we're going to be branching out and doing a lot more of a variety of different things as we've been doing, but definitely gonna, continue with that. I'm gonna start doing a lot more solo NBA stuff. I'm sure Joe's gonna start doing a lot more solo NHL stuff. And we'll go from there essentially. So yeah, catch y'all on the next one. Peace.